Hello. Today we are starting with the second chapter of secretarial practice, that is company secretary. In the previous chapter, we have already seen the definition of company secretary. The importance of company secretary is evident from the fact that the Companies Act categorizes company secretary as a KMP, that is a key managerial personnel. KMP are employees of a company and are assigned with the most important task. They will form the policy and implement them. KMP are people who are in charge of managing the operations of the company. They are in charge for planning, directing, and controlling the functions of a company. KMP include the Chief Executive Officer or Managing Director, Company Secretary, Chief Financial Officer, Whole-Time Director, and any other prescribed officers. As per the Companies Act, for appointment of Company Secretary, the subscribed capital should be more than 5 crore. Appointment of company secretary is compulsory for a listed company and any company having a subscribed capital of more than 5 crore. And appointment of all KMPs including CEO, company secretary, chief financial officer, etc. is compulsory for a listed company and for a company having subscribed capital of more than 10 crore. For other companies, that is an unlisted company or a company having subscribed capital of less than 10 crore, appointment of all the KMPs is not necessary. Now let us have a look at the quality and qualifications required from a company secretary. First, let us see the qualities of a company secretary. The qualities include good health, energy and enthusiasm, attractive personality, intelligence, decision-making power, analytical capacity, foresight, leadership, tactfulness and smartness, confidence, loyalty, and honesty. Good health. The company secretary is responsible for various departments and for handling various levels of management. He has to handle the top management also, that is the board of directors. The company secretary is responsible to form the policy, so he will be handling the top management, which will be included in the policy formation process. And the CS is also responsible for implementing the policy, so he will also be interacting with the middle level management and the lower level management. So he has to interact with all the levels of management. To fulfill this commitment, he will have to work very hard. And this is only possible if he is physically and mentally fit. Energy and enthusiasm. The work of legal compliance can be very cumbersome and very confusing, especially in a country like India where we boast about having the largest constitution, the most lengthy constitution. Apart from that, we also have many rules and regulations, and the government regularly issues new notifications and new orders. To keep track of all these things and to give a compliance for all the new notification and order, it is very important that the CS is very enthusiastic about his work. This will make the work easy for himself and for the other company personnel also. Attractive personality. The CS has to work as a link between the stakeholders and the company. Now, the stakeholders will include shareholders, debenture holders, government officer, lender, employees, etc. So, we have seen before that the CS is responsible for issue of shares and debentures. Through this process, he will be interacting with shareholders and debentures holders. He is also responsible for filing of return. So, he will be interacting with government officers. Also, because of his role in policy formation and implementation, he has to handle the board of directors and middle and lower management. Thus, because of his interaction with numerous stakeholders and numerous employees, his personality should be very impressive so that all the stakeholders and the company personnel develop a confidence in the company secretary and will readily accept the advice given by the CS. Intelligence. The secretary is required to look after the administrative affairs, and he has to be conversant with all the rules and regulations which are required to be followed. He also has to be aware of all the policy matters. To carry out these varied scope of duties, the secretary should be intelligent and sharp, and he should be able to tackle all the matters effectively and efficiently. Decision making. As CS has to perform his activities in various fields. He has to handle various employees and various departments. He also has to guide the board of directors. So it is very important that the secretary has a good decision making power so that he can take a prompt and effective decision. For example, during a board of director meeting, when all the directors and top management are in attendance, and suppose randomly a director asks the CS if they can conduct the meeting on a particular date or what is his opinion about a particular policy, then even if he has not researched about the availability of date or the benefits or disadvantages of the policy, he should be able to take a quick decision and reply to the directors or the top management immediately. This will save time, this will save resources and energy of everyone. For everything, you cannot expect to delay it. You cannot tell the directors and the top management that I will look into it and reply to you at a later date. Many things you have to answer at this on the spot, and at that time prompt decision making is very necessary. Analytical capacity. Analytical capacity is the ability to examine something and understand it and explain it. Whenever the secretary encounters a problem, say administrative or executive problem, he has to examine all the aspects and take a prudent decision. So here let's take the example of GST rules and regulations. So most of the CS, when they would have studied for their examination, they would have studied about either excise or VAT, and now when they started their job, suddenly they are faced with the implementation of GST. So the CS cannot say that I have not studied it in my course and so I'm not able to implement it. The CS will have to study the law which has been notified by the government and be able to examine and be able to understand the law and implement it in his company. Foresight. To take a good decision, the CS should have the foresight to analyze the future impact or future consequences that the decision taken by him in the present will have. For example, you may learn in accountancy or other subjects about bonus issue of shares and right issue of shares, or say about employee stock options. So these are all the methods through which the company can issue its shares to its existing shareholders or to its existing employees. Now suppose the directors want to issue employee stock options to its employees and they are asking for an advice. So the CS should be able to predict what will be the impact of the share price in the future because of issue of the employee stock option now. He may take help of other personnel like CA and his accounting department, but he should have the foresight to know that all the actions taken during the present will have a future impact, and he should have enough analytical ability to understand whatever is being told to him, explained to him. Leadership. The company secretary is part of the top management of the company. He must have the ability to get the work done from the middle and lower management in a timely and effective manner. For this, he will need to have all leadership skills like initiative, confidence, capacity to motivate others, capacity to incite cooperation, etc. Tactfulness and smartness. To be smart means to understand what is happening around you and what type of changes are going to take place. And to be tactful means the ability to make tough situations easy. So, first, whenever you are faced with any problem, you should be smart enough to understand your problem, and then you have to use your tactfulness to give a simple solution to your problem. This way, the CS will be able to manage any situation whenever the need arises. Confidence. The confidence of the CS must be reflected in his work. He should be sure about the decision taken by him and the work done by him. For example, now suppose a manager comes to the CS and shows him an order and takes his and wants to take his advice. Now the CS may or may not have seen the order before. In either case, the CS should have the confidence that if I am reading an particular order, I will be able to understand it properly and I will be able to guide the other person. If I don't have that confidence in myself, then that lack of self confidence will be shown through my actions, through my words to the manager. And the next time The manager will never trust you for any decision. The company personnel will always second guess you. They will always doubt your decisions, and ultimately you will lose your ability to incite corporation. Loyalty. CS is part of the top management of the company, and thus he is privy to a lot of confidential information. Now, whenever we take a decision, we don't immediately take a decision. We will go through a lot of discussion and through a lot of thinking process. Similarly, in a company also, the company board of directors do not take an immediate decision. They will discuss an issue, they will discuss a policy for a long time. They will discuss it for many months, and only after that a policy will be formed. Now, because the CS will be a part of that discussion, he will be aware what are the policy or what are the decision which will be taken in the future. But he has to be loyal, and he should not pass on this information to the rival companies or even to the own employees of the company. Honesty. The moral responsibility of the CS is to be honest. He has to have a good character and good habits. An honest CS will be able to motivate other officers at various levels to be honest. So let us see the qualities of the CS once again. First, good health. Second, energy and enthusiasm. Third, personality. Fourth, intelligence. Fifth, decision making power. Sixth, analytical capacity. Seventh, foresight. Eighth, leadership. Ninth, tactfulness and smartness. 10th, confidence. 11th, loyalty. And 12th, honesty. Now, there will be some words which you may find a bit overlapping or you may be finding very similar. For example, health and energy and enthusiasm. Now, health is the state of being well, that is, you are free from disease. Energy is the ability to be active and to do a lot of work without getting tired. Now, usually, when you have a good health, you will automatically have energy, but it is not always true. For example, even in your case, currently you may be free of diseases. But after doing an entire day of work, after studying for an entire day, after playing in the evening, you will find that you do not have sufficient energy to sit and study more. So there is a limitation to the energy. So even if you have a good health, it is not necessary that you are always energetic. And lack of energy does not occur only because of physical symptom. Lack of energy also happens because of mental tiredness also. If there is a lot of stress, then because of that mental exhaustion, he may be physically unable to do work. So health is being free of diseases. Enthusiasm is a mental state in which you are excited to do your work, and energy is the physical state in which you are able to do your work. Energy and enthusiasm are clubbed here together because if you are enthusiastic about your work, you will automatically find some energy to do it also. Next, you may also have a confusion between tactfulness and smartness. So, smartness is the ability to think quickly or intelligently in difficult situation. Now, the difficult situation may arise at any moment, and it is not necessary that you will always have time to think over all the events and to make a proper decision. So, when you are smart, it means that you will be able to think quickly, you will be able to think on the spot and take a decision. Tactfulness means that you have to be careful not to say or do things that will offend others. Now, whenever you have a problem, now for example, in your company, you are conducting a meeting, and in that there is a disagreement between two parties. Now, first you have to be smart enough to know how to resolve the situation. That is, you have to calm down both the parties, and second, you have to be tactful. So you do not say anything which will offend each of the parties. If you offend any party, the disagreement will escalate and it will become a fight. Next, you may be confused about loyalty and honesty. Honesty is a personality trait. It means that you are free of deceit. You are not deceitful. You are truthful and you are very sincere. Loyalty is devotion for a particular group or a person. Now, you are an honest person. You do not lie. You do not cheat. But that does not mean that you are loyal to everyone. You will be loyal to only one person or one group. For example, if there is a competition between two schools, just because you are an honest person, you will not support every school. You will be loyal to only yours. Okay, so that is the difference. Honesty is a personality trait, while loyalty Loyalty is a devotion to one particular group. So we will be seeing only the qualities of CS today. The qualification of CS, the responsibility, authority, etc. The remaining chapter will be done in the next session. But I request you that before moving forward to the next session, please memorize the qualities of the CS. Please do not focus on just completing the chapter, on just reading the chapter and getting it over. Focus on memorizing each and every point as and when you are reading it. So we will revise the qualities of CS once more and then we'll wrap up. So first is good health. Good health is the state of being well and free from illness. The CS is responsible for various departments and he has to work very hard. So he has to be physically and mentally fit. For that, good health is necessary. Second is energy and enthusiasm. Energy is the ability to be active and to do lot of work without getting tired. Enthusiasm is the feeling of excitement or the desire to be involved in something. Now, because the work of legal compliance is very cumbersome and confusing, it is important that the CS likes his work, he is excited by his work, so ultimately he will be enthusiastic and he will have the physical energy to do the work. Third is personalities, because the CS will be handling people of different characters. So his personality should be impressive so that all the stakeholders and the company personnel will like his personality and they will develop a confidence in the advice of CS. Next is intelligence. He has to be a jack of many trades. So he has to look after administrative issues. He should know about the rules and regulations, etc. For this, he has to learn all this. He has to be very intelligent and sharp. Next is decision making power. The CS will be guiding the BOD on various issues from policy making to rules and regulations, etc. And it is possible that during a meeting the board of directors may suddenly call for an opinion of the CS. So the CS at that time should be able to identify the information, should be able to gather the information, think about all the alternatives and make a decision. Next is analytical capacity. Analytical capacity refers to the ability to collect and analyze information, to analyze the alternatives and to make decisions. So whenever a CS encounters any problem, it may be administrative or an executive problem, he should be able to carefully examine the problem and to understand the problem and take a prudent decision. Next is foresight. Foresight is the ability to see what will probably happen in the future, and he has to use this ability, this knowledge, to make careful plans. So the CS should be able to analyze the future consequences of any decision which he will be taking in the present. Next is leadership. Leadership is the ability of the person to influence and guide his followers. Now, because CS is the part of the top management, so his followers will be the middle management and lower management. They are looking up to him for policy formation, for policy implementation. So he should have various leadership skill like initiative, confidence, cooperation, etc. All these skills will influence the followers and encourage them to cooperate. Now, tactfulness and smartness. Smartness is the ability to think quickly. Tactfulness is to be careful not to say or do things that will offend others. So because the CS is handling various stakeholders, so he has to be both smart and tactful. Confidence, the CS should be confident in his work that whatever he is doing is correct, so that his followers will also have a confidence on the CS. Loyalty, loyalty is the devotion to a particular group or person. Because the CS has the knowledge of the confidential information, he may be tempted by the rival companies to share those information, but he should be loyal and should not pass on this information to the rival companies. Next is he should be honest, that is, he should not be deceitful, he should be truthful and sincere. When the CS has a good character, then first you can rest assured that he will be loyal to your company, and second, he will also work as an inspiration to the officers at various levels. So with this, we complete today's session. In the next session, we will be doing the remaining chapter. If you found this video useful, please like and share and subscribe to be updated about the second part.